All right, so what we're going to talk about for today's lesson is what we call the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. So remember, the Pythagorean theorem is when we have a missing side of a triangle, and we're trying to figure out what is this missing side, okay? Well, we can use that Pythagorean theorem, that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, to solve for the missing side. Okay, but what the converse means is kind of putting that in an opposite order. Okay, so we could say that the official Pythagorean theorem is if you have a right triangle, then the side square plus or leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. So if we turned that around and said the converse, we would say if leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared, then the triangle must be a right triangle. And so we're going to use that converse of the Pythagorean theorem to determine if I'm given three sides of a triangle, can I determine what type of triangle it is? Okay, so let me give you some notes to write down. So we're going to say if c squared, that's our hypotenuse, remember, equals a squared plus b squared, then the triangle is right. Okay, if c squared is greater than a squared plus b squared, then the triangle is obtuse. You can write that. I'm not going to write over my face. If c squared is less than a squared plus b squared, then the triangle is acute. Okay, so that's what we're going to remember. And we're going to practice solving these and determining what type of triangle do we have. Okay. Now, the biggest tricky thing I find students have is how to put these in order. So let's talk about what we're doing here, okay? So I'm going to make this just a little bit smaller for myself, just so that I have plenty of room to write an example problem. So I'm just going to say right, okay, obtuse. It's going to be a little on my face, that's okay, and acute. So I'm going to give you an example of what type of problem we would solve here. So if I said, determine if you have these three sides of a triangle, what type of triangle is it? Okay. So first, we're going to do two things. We're going to determine, is it a triangle at all? Okay, that's our first question. Is it even a triangle? Now, hopefully you learned this previously, but if not, here's a refresher. To determine, is it a triangle, you're going to take the two smallest sides and you're going to set this problem up. So small plus medium, is it greater than the biggest one? Okay, so we're putting these triangle lengths in order. Small is the 3 plus the medium is 7. Is that greater than the biggest side? 3 plus 7 is 11. 11 is greater than 9. So check. Yes, it is a triangle. If we had something else, like, for example, 4 to 11, we would do the same thing. We would put it in order. So 2 plus the medium is 4. Is that greater than 11? 2 plus 4 is 6. Not greater than 11. So we would say no, and we would stop there and we would say not a triangle. Okay, so that's going to be your first step, is always to determine, is it a triangle? If it's a triangle, you're going to do the second step, which is putting it in this order to determine which symbol to use. Okay. C is always going to be our biggest side. Okay, and then we're going to do our small and our medium. Okay, so maybe make a note of that. So let's go ahead and look at this. 3, 7, 9. Which one is our biggest side? That's the 9. So I'm going to write, it says 9 squared. Okay, and I'm going to put a little box here because I don't know which symbol it is. I don't know if it's equal, greater, or less than. So I'm going to put a box because I don't know the symbol yet. Okay, now I'm going to do my small, which is 3 squared plus 7 squared, my medium. Okay, so let's solve this. 9 squared, that's 9 times 9, that's 81. 3 squared, that's 3 times 3, that's 9. 7 squared is 7 times 7, that's 49. Okay, so let's see, 81. 9 plus 49, let's see, 9 plus 9 is 18. Carry a 1, it's 58. You can double check that if you want. So 81 is greater than 58. That means that we used this symbol, and so it is an obtuse triangle. So that's your goal with these. Let's do one additional one. I'm going to erase the marks I just made, which is kind of tricky because I just erased the O on obtuse. So let's try another one. We determined that 3, 7, 9 makes an obtuse triangle. Let's pick another one to do. Let's do 17, 17, and 21. So our first question, is it a triangle? So we're going to do small plus medium. Is that greater than the biggest one? That's our question. So 17 plus 17, is that greater than 21? 17 plus 17, I'll use my calculator, 34. 34 is greater than 21, so check. Yes, it's a triangle. Let's find out what type. Okay, so now I'm going to do this formula. So my biggest one, that's the 21. I'll do 21 squared. I'm going to put a square because I don't know which symbol this is. And then I'm going to do my small and medium. It turns out they're both the same, so it doesn't matter what order. Let's see. I don't know 21 squared off the top of my head today. 441. Okay. 17 squared is 289 plus 289. So let's go ahead and do 289 plus 289. That is 578. Need my glasses. 441. So what symbol do we put here? 441 is less than 578. So that means that this would form an acute triangle. So that's your goal with these types of problems. First, determine, is it a triangle? If it is a triangle, continue on to figure out what symbol, and then use your chart to figure out what type of triangle it is. Okay, now remember, if you get to one and this first test doesn't work, you say, no, it's not a triangle, then you just stop, because if it's not a triangle, it's not a right triangle, it's not an obtuse triangle, it's not an acute triangle, because it's not a triangle at all. If you have any questions, definitely let me know.